And we're live. So, hello everybody.
Hello.
Today is Thursday, the 4th of June, I believe. Um, just in there checking Betsy. Had her Stephen had her started running for me today. I should have been doing it myself. We should have been getting her a lick of polish tonight, maybe getting her ready to load tomorrow night for Enniskillen on Saturday morning. But, well, we all know what's happened, why we're not going to Enniskillen. I just always like to check, make sure we're still ringing here. Yep, we're still live and going. So, no, COVID-19 has affected another round of our championship. We should have been, Enniskillen on Saturday for the Earn Trophy sprint, but it wasn't to be. As you can see, I've got the famous clothing on again. I do possess other clothes, for those of you that wonder. It's just that I like to promote the sprint clothing range. As you all know by now, you can get it all via Blackwater Graphics on their website. There's some nice attire out there between coats and hats and jumpers, hoodies, t-shirts, etc, etc. Would have liked to have seen more of it out and about, but weren't able to do anything with it this year, unfortunately. Anyhow, I want to thank everybody for joining us, and most importantly is to thank this man that is in front of me here now. I'm sure everybody knows him. He's certainly been competing as long as I have. Maybe a wee bit longer, haven't you?
Possibly.
What I'll do is I'll pass you across to him. I'll let him introduce himself. So, over to you, Tom.
Well, I'm Tom Lawther. I've been around quite a while. In fact, I've been around so long that Her Majesty's government gives me a few pound every week, which is very useful.
I hope you don't tell Her Majesty's government you're using it for entry fees.
That's not to be disclosed.
Oh dear. Well, Tom, we'll start with the important. Oh, I took a cramp my leg there. We'll start with the important ones, Tom. What car do your competition car do you drive?
I have a Rover SD1. It's a V8. It's a wee white one, as Gibby Francis would say. And
excuse me, when I walk about, cramp this leg out. Sorry, carry on, Tom. Oh.
It's I bought it in 1996 from Conor Mulholland, the late John Mulholland's brother. He had brought it over from England, and I think he found it was a bit big for his garage when he got it home. So he had known that I had one away back in the early 80s, and he phoned me. So I went up and had a look at it, and it had been in the Bahamas for about 10 or 12 years. So it wasn't as rusty as the one that I had was. And it at that time, but your head runs away with your brain sometimes, or whatever way you like to go about it. But anyhow, I brought it home, and I did a few wee rallies with it. I did Easter stages that year, and a few other. But I had the Escort with the rotary engine at the time, and I was using it for hill climbs, and I thought I would leave the Rover in the back foot for a wee while and see how it goes. So I used the Rover or the Escort for most of the sprints and hill climbs for the next 10 years. And then I used the wee Clan Crusader I have for the retro circuit, which was always good crack.
Right.
Then I decided to sell the Escort, and I sold it in '06. And I was going to buy another Escort, but I think the money was, at that time, they were an arm and a leg, so I didn't really want to put all that money into it. So I brought the Rover out again, and I thought I would take it to a sprint. So the first sprint I took it to was Paxton, and I found that the class 7 it was then, so I was in along with four-wheel drive cars, and I was still able to sort of match the mildly tuned Subarus, and things like that. So I actually came away with a class win that day. The only thing, your man, Richard Young, when he was giving me the prize, he says the Rover looked a bit like a Stranraer ferry coming round there, so it must have been leaning a bit. However, I went on ahead and sorted her out a bit more, and then the sprint, the British Championship sprint that year, I won the class again, and the report for the East Boys, they said that Tom Lawler's big Rover, or sorry, Great White Whale, curb hopped its way to a class win, so they called it the Great White Whale. So there you go.
So,
But no, I have enjoyed driving it, and I was able to hold on to the Subarus until that fella, that fella from Mollusk, what do you call him, Michael White?
yes.
Once he gets at them, I just can't touch them at all. He seems to know his Subarus very well.
Yeah. What I was going to say was, you're not the only man then from round about here in a white rear-wheel drive car that beats the Subarus. Is that what you're saying?
Just a wee white one, a wee white car. Yeah, that's right.
Oh dear. You mentioned she came from England there. What was the history of it beforehand? As a wee birdie tells me, she was a police car at the time.
From what I can gather, there's a fella, Steve Wilson, there. He seems to have been around the rally world a long time in England, and he seems to have worked for maybe a lot of the preparation people. He seems to have been in Africa looking after cars and things a lot.
Right.
But he got on to me when he saw it on Facebook. He says he built 2 cars. One of them went to the Bahamas, which I take it as mine. And he's very impressed with the way she's going now, so he keeps in touch there. So, but I think he built 2 of them, he said at the time, so there were ex-police cars because of no sunroof or anything, plus the dash was always mucking about, and there's a few holes has been in the roof, for their aerials and things, so
yes.
I think it's definitely...
And memory serves me right, she still has her last Bahamas MOT disc in the window.
She has on the tax disc for 1995, so unfortunately I haven't had to change the windscreen, so there you are.
But here, at least you don't have to tax it either, because they'll never know what it's doing from there to here.
No, that's right.
Well, this is one
right.
I'm really looking forward to asking here, Tom, because we've spoken to 2 people already before who have blamed you for their involvement. So what I'm going to ask you now, Tom, is what got you involved in motorsport in the first place?
Well, way back in the 50s and early 60s, we would go to see the finish of the Circuit of Ireland. It was nearly always in Bangor at Castle Park, and there was auto tests or driving tests as they were called then for the finish. And sort of got us interested in motorsport. But the main man that I can blame for it was by a man called, he's dead now, Roy Ferguson, from close to where I lived at home. He was a stalwart in the UAC, and he would organise a lot of events and things. But then in '64, the circuit changed to motor special stages, and they were looking for marshals to go on a team and set up the stages around the Circuit of Ireland. So Roy asked me and another chap to go in 1965, and so we joined the team and went round Ireland with them. The first stage we did was Sally Gap. We set that up about 3 o'clock in the morning in the Wicklow Mountains. And then when that was over, we went over to Moll's Gap, close to Killarney, and we set that one up and ran that. And then on the Monday we drove the whole way to Atlantic Drive and set that up as well. So, going dark.
Aye, that's helped.
Right, okay, right. But no, that really got us going. And when I seen these stages and we were able to drive over them, I started to think that's the way motorsport should go. We had been raking about earlier in different cars and went to the odd auto test or driving test, and maybe had a wee go after all the way, that type of thing. But we're always, when I was on Cyril Johnson's too, we'd done a lot of raking about. I was sort of at the start of, in Cyril Johnson's when it started to sell balers and combine harvesters.
Right.
And because I had worked with him until he died, I had a bit of an experience for nutters and things like that, and balers and combines. So I was sent out quite a lot all around the north of Ireland to repair these things, So I was always raking about wee roads and sort of driving, getting home as quick as I could. A minor 1,000 van, and you're between opposite lock and actual tramp, that's the way you get around the wee roads, But certainly it was an experience. Probably gave me a bit of experience for reading the road too, Yeah.
So it set you in good stead then.
Yeah, so we marshalled in 65, and then 66 we were marshalling again, and that was the year Paddy rolled the Mini in Loch Esk. So we actually gave them a lot to Killarney then. But Hugh Bryan was navigator for Roy Ferguson on the team, and I got gone to school with Hugh, so we sort of bonded again, and we decided we'd do the rally.
Mm-hmm.
So bought a wee 998 Cooper and prepared it, and we did enough of events to get our international licence, and we did the 67 Circuit of Ireland, and we had a great run. We did, yeah. And funny enough, on the way through Wicklow, the rear gearbox mounting, or the remote mounting, and the wee Mini started to give trouble, and the engine was rocking. So I jammed a few bits of wood in to keep her going. But when we were arriving into Killarney, we were pulling up alongside the service vans that were all stacked, just estate cars really in those days. And these three boys got out and said, "Step out of the car, please." And this was in the middle of Killarney Main Street, you know. And so it was the BMC service team.
Right.
Next thing, my money was on its side, and the boys pulled the sump guard off, put a brand new mounting on, and put the sump guard on again, and get into park for it. So we wondered how it, but it was, I think Terry Harriman had a lot to do with it, because Terry and Paddy were together the year before.
Right,
so
yeah.
The one thing they put on us was really hard too. I've never seen as hard a bit of rubber in all my life, so it was a works one, you know. And I kept that for quite a few years in different minis. But there you are. One good turn deserves another.
Very much. So, I heard a wee story about you travelling a wee bit further than Killarney in a Mini to do a rally. What's the crack with that one, Tom?
Well, it wasn't a Mini. It was a Mazda RX-2.
Right, sorry. Apologies.
We decided in 1967 that we'd do the Cyprus Rally. The Rothmans were sponsoring it, and they were given good money for starting. If you got over the starting line, you got 400 or 500 Cyprus pounds, which was quite a lot in those days. So we decided we'd drive the rally car there, and in fact, my wife and I drove the rally car there right through Europe, through Yugoslavia, down into Greece, got a ferry at Greece and across to Cyprus. And then we flew out. Maxie McLean was my navigator, and Ernie Kenmore from here, he came out to help the service. Right. So they flew out later. Oh, what fantastic crack, was indeed. And we drove the whole way back again. The other night, we took a month really. It took 2 weeks in Cyprus. Took a week to get there and a week to get back. But it was quite an experience now. My Mazda never missed a beat. Everybody said you wouldn't depend on a rotary engine going there, but it went there and back, never missed a beat.
Well, as I was going to say to you, how did you finish?
We didn't actually finish in the results because we were run out of time. We actually went out there and everybody else was wrecking a lot, but we didn't do. The sun was so nice and the wine was good and all. We didn't wreck enough. But with a good run now we had, we got her back home again. And then before that, I built a car actually for the Circuit of Ireland that year.
Right.
Which was, and we had I think we finished second in class there to Jimmy McRae. He was in a Magnum.
I've heard of that fellow somewhere.
And then I hired her out to Ernest McMillan for the goal. So that was one of the early jobs. Right. And then engine, and we went off to Cyprus. And there was a man waiting to buy the engine when I got home for an RX-3. There you are. Right. But no, I've had a few different cars in my lifetime now.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us about some of your cars now, actually? Well, I remember you with an Escort that had an unusual registration number. Yeah. No pistons.
No pistons. Right. Well, that was the Mark II with the rotary engine in it. I don't have any pistons. That's why. When the RX-8 came out, there was an advert about no pistons. I got a number plate made up with no pistons on it. So that was the story there. But it was a good car. I bought it as a rolling shell, and I didn't see it from Wales. And the boy put it in the Liverpool boat, and we left it in Belfast and towed it home. And funny enough, he had a Rover V8 engine in it. So I had the engine the other rover I had, so I put that in. But I didn't really like it. It was all hot and bothered, got very warm. The engine was very close to the bulkhead and all.
Yeah.
So I took it out and I decided as everybody has an engine below the bench, I pulled the rotary engine out from below the bench and put that in it. So, and right enough, I had a tremendous run for it, right through the '06, It was a good going car.
That's some record. That. I also hear you I still have a beautiful wee Clan Crusader.
Oh, yes. In 1972, we had the Manx Rally in Cooperette, so we 1293. There was quite a lot of us used to go over there for the Manx Rally.
Yeah.
And Andy Dawson was there with the first clan that I ever seen, in fact anybody had ever seen. And he actually finished second to Roger Clark. And I thought this might be the way to go. So we ended up going over to the works over in Newcastle at one time, and we bought one there and brought it home. Did Donegal, did quite a few events with it, and even went to the Burma Rally in Scotland with it, and did a lot. And then a wee bit fragile in the transmission now if you get a lot of power into it, but
yeah.
A lovely wee car, great for less competitive events, that you're not going balls out type thing,
Yeah.
Still looks well, still goes well. I've only been using it. I like the retro circuit of Ireland, and there's been not a few shows for charity and things like that, But
yeah.
I still have it.
It's still a nice wee thing to have, so it is.
It is indeed. It is. That's what I think. It is indeed. But no, I have a lot of cars. After 998 Mini and 67, autocrosses and things were starting in those days around fields.
Right, yeah.
And we did a lot. And then there was always a sprinter at Hormo Park, Wallace Park, and Lisburn, and Barnett's Park in Belfast. They were great crack. You got a good entry there. You're fighting. All the boys were at it, from Armagh, and the McCartneys were about on it and all. They were really good fun. That was before the sprints really took to circuits, type of thing.
I've just got a message there, Tom. You've gone very dark? Is your light still on?
I'll have a wee look here. Oh, sorry. Just a wee second.
I'm getting my technical support from the other room. Joanne keeps me right with all these sort of things. When I'm on, I can't see and hear what's happening. That's you now, Tom.
That's better.
That's you now. We can see you now.
Bad connection.
Back in full Technicolor HD, you name it, you have it.
That's good. Wouldn't like you to miss anything.
Oh dear. We were talking about cars, so we'll change tack slightly and go to events. This is one that it'd be interesting to see what your take is, all the events you've done, Tom. But what would be your favourite event and why?
Well, I think probably from a rally point of view, the Donegal rally was always my favourite way back in the 70s. We did it about 7 or 8 times and always had a reasonably good result out of it, So
yeah.
It was fantastic. It's very close. There's not a lot of driving between stages, and it's just a good rally. Stages are fantastic, They are indeed. Sprint and hill climbs probably Crickantlet would be my favourite hill, because we used to go there and we used to ride the bikes across there and have a look at it, and then we started up and up Crickantlet in quite a few different cars, minis and Fiat 127s even, and Mark 1 BDA Escort in 76.
That would be nice.
Nice car. We did the circuit and all that year in Donegal. Ulster.
Yeah.
So, it was a good car.
Yeah.
I sold it without I kept the engine. I still have the engine.
Have you?
I sold it. My chap that bought it still has it. A fella called Tommy Graham bought it from Banbridge direction.
Right.
Like he still has it. He doesn't seem to use it much.
Craig Outlet's a hill that's changed a lot over the years. I can remember when I first started going, we started away off down near enough at the main road, way on the other side of the bridge, and it slowly but surely sort of shortened to its current
That's
format now as houses have been built around the area, which is a shame.
It is. When I first did it, there was no new road even, So we started the way down at the wee bridge, as you talk about. I went on the left hand there. The road came right left there. There was no, you couldn't go on up the road, So it was good now. It was a lot tighter. But I did that way back in the 70s. That was the beginning of it. Mm-hmm. And then I did it too when you come up and turned left off the new road and back onto it again, So I did it in quite a few different cars over the years.
Yeah. I'd always enjoying it still.
Oh, I always enjoyed Craig Anson. After it. I love that last corner,
There was a bit of crack on the page last week. I think it was Hammy started it. Infamous Hammy. Taking a wee jibe at Davy Gibson about what did Hammy call it now? The do you lift last bend.
Yes. Hammy keeps everybody going, doesn't he?
I tell you, he certainly does. But sure, he gets plenty of stick in return, so it's worth it.
That's right. Oh, I. So, I know Craig Anton's good. I enjoy Craig Anton. I certainly do. And always have. But I like Tyres as well. It's a good one as well. You get good wind in it.
You need to be very committed up Tyre. Very committed.
Yeah. You've got the escorts all come out from the hills, so it's a competitive class, that 2A, so it's very competitive now,
It certainly is. It's one of the most competitive, I think, of all the classes. And we don't have any that aren't competitive, but it's brilliant.
My times are never too far away from your times,
I always like to look and see. I get the time sheet. I always go to the bottom and work my way up and look for myself and then look for Tom, and I'm always going, Tom's still above me. How am I going to catch him again?
Everybody seems to want to have a go at me. I don't know why.
No, it's just we know that if we're on your pace, we're going well.
Thank you very much. Well, long But no, I like those sheets where you can see where you really were, You start at the top or whether it start at the bottom, so see where you
Well.
But for some, for the escort boys.
Oh, them boys go well. There's no doubt about it.
3 or 4 years ago, I had the legs in them, but now all this development, fancy carburetor, fancy injection systems, is making them all a bit quicker now. There you are. Yeah. Maybe I'm getting a wee bit more too, but this year I was going to give them a good go for it. Tell them that, won't you? And,
I certainly tell them. I would say there's enough of them watching this. Your secret's out now.
The wife bought me a new racing suit at Christmas too, and then after that I went to Specsavers and I have a new set of glasses. So I'm really ready to go this year, and then I only got 2 events.
There's going to be no stopping you when we start again.
I used enough for the time there at the 2 events, so I thought I was going all right.
Well, definitely we're going well. Well, apart from letting the big trade secrets away, because we don't want everybody to know about all the modifications, but during lockdown, have you been working at the car, and what have you done? Don't tell them all the really important stuff though, because they'll all be spying here.
Well, I brought her home from Carcassonne that day, the last sprint, and I just put her in the shed that night because it was a winter night. Yeah. So I didn't touch her. I left her there for a fortnight, and I thought, well, there's not going to be any events for a long time. I'll maybe take the wheels and tyres off her, put the old ones on for sitting on them. Uh-huh. So I put her on the lift, put her up, give her a wee look over, put another set of wheels and tyres on her, and I looked at her and here all the salt from coming up on the shore road, the salt was coming over the wall under, the salt water. It had caked on her, so I gave her a good wash and a good hose, put her back down in the shed, and took the battery out of her, and the battery's now working on the electric fence for the donkeys, so there you are.
Multitasking.
Hasn't moved since. So there you are. So I don't know. I don't no idea when she's going to move, so what do you think?
I don't know, Tom. It's alright saying Motorsport UK have said start, but don't forget we're dependent on what the Egypts and the Hill tell us to do for a start. But there's that much new criteria and all set in. It's going to be a disaster.
It's going to be very difficult to run an event no matter where, It's I think the organisers are going to have a lot more to do. It's not going to be as easy now.
Yeah, and I think...
we don't want to go back too soon either,
No. I can see people doing a lot of complaining, I have to do this and I can't do that and I can't do the other and whatever. But they have to realise that if they don't do that, we're not going to get out at all.
That's it, you see.
So it's a bit of a balancing act there.
It's a changed world, it certainly is. There's no doubt.
Definitely. But,
Yeah.
now, thinking back over the years, Tom, what would be your most memorable moment in motorsport?
Well, there's a lot of memorable ones, but within the last 15 years, I think I remember being Craig Antlet, and I was having a really good run, but I was having a bit of a dice with a Subaru, and the last run, I was a bit later in getting down to the start, and I heard over the tannoy, the lad in the Subaru had just set the new record and was leading the class, you see, so I wasn't too far behind him, and I started thinking now, I had new tyres on it this morning and they're bedding in nicely, and let me have a go here. I said, Lawther, this is your chance, I said to myself. Didn't I lowered the record and got, your man was rejoicing at the top of the hill, you see, and I come up and then I had beaten him and got the record, so I was a bit sorry for him, but only for about 3 seconds,
3 seconds, you were generous.
So there you are. But yes, that was memorable. Another one was in probably Donegal rally away back in '72. I'd got very friendly with Harry Cathcart and Ernest and a fellow called Jeff Morrison. First met them in the '67 Circuit of Ireland. They were in a wee Cooper as well, and we were friends for life after that. However, '72, he was in the 1340 and I was in 1293, and we were having a great tussle the whole rally. Absolutely, we were very close. I was taking time off him and he was taking time off me. The last stage was Atlantic Drive.
Right.
And we were 5 seconds, I think, behind him. See, and we were 3 seconds behind him. And the two of us headed off into the stage for the last stage now of the rally. And we went hammer and tongs and I beat him behind. And somebody afterwards said, you two boys were having a queer go there. You thought it was the start of the rally rather than the finish of the rally, the last stage. There you are. Those were good. And another time with a great dice with Norman Thompson in 2 Fates in the Ulster Rally.
Right.
And there again, only seconds at the finish, So those are great. Whenever you get somebody close to you and you're comparing times the whole way through, it's great. Yeah, it's great. It makes it all more interesting, Yeah, it doesn't care about who's leading at the rally. Like, if you beat the other boy, that's you happy, So there you are.
It's all about the close competition, and
absolutely.
Turns out sometimes some of your closest competitors end up being your best friends at an event because they come and help you to get you back out because everything's so close.
The motorsport crowd are great, especially the sprints and the times. I think the rallying's got a wee bit more up there now, it's a bit sort of, but certainly I was doing it in the 70s and 80s, and they were great crack. I'd done some events in 70 and 80, we did rallies, we did all the internationals, and we did the sprints, and we did the autocrossing, and it was a few hill climbs as well. Didn't do all the hill climbs, but done the local ones, you know. No, people are so friendly. They are, absolutely, you know. They'll help you. I like to help people else are in trouble too, you know. But certainly other people will help me if I'm in trouble, you know. So,
Yeah. No, it's one thing. It's all very, very friendly and around the paddock. That's something I've said a few times, which makes it so much more enjoyable too.
It is, absolutely. Oh, but very, very enjoyable.
Yeah. This one might be an awkward one or a difficult one for you to answer, Tom, but who would be your motorsport idol?
Well, way back in the 60s, as I told you, I watched the last of the Circuit of Ireland in Bangor Park, the driving tests, as we called them then. And the man that I remember liking to watch was Paddy Hopkirk. Even when he was driving Sunbeam Rapiers, like he could grind those pylons, and I don't think weren't supposed to have a diff in them, but sometimes people did it, you know. But he was very economical with the space available, and he always had a very quick time. A bit like Mark Francis today. If you look at Mark Francis doesn't use any more road than he has to, and he gets to the finish line quicker than anybody else. But then he's a chip of the old block, you see.
Exactly. Exactly.
But Mark certainly would be the boy to watch. I love to watch him in the tests and things, you know. But Davy was good too now. Davy done that beginner's auto test things way back, Wallace Jelly and him. I encouraged him to go to it, and it was the best thing ever happened. Davy became a driver after that. You know, he really went on the up and up. Yeah. And we have plans for years, you know, as he told you the last day, you know. So,
yeah. He was talking about the auto tests, and actually when we interviewed Neil Dugan as well, he blamed you for introducing him to the sport as well. So you've obviously introduced a fair few to the sport over the years.
Well, I think Davy was the first, and then Paul Martin worked for me for a year, and he's dead now. I don't know whether you knew Paul Martin or not, but Paul, he had an escort, and we went to Manx together, but he worked for me for a year, and then Roy Hazlitt served this time with me as well. Right. So Roy's still doing and, you know, Horace Daly, he was with me to start as well, so he has navigated for me quite a few times, and he's driven himself a lot, so I got a lot of people in, you know, but I don't think it's done him any harm.
No.
But I'm very impressed with Davy. Davy has pleased me. Like Davy, I'm very proud of Davy Francis actually, because he has made a great run out of it. You know. Talking about Paddy Hopkirk, Paddy was the man to watch, and then whenever special stages came, Paddy rose to the occasion, and he won the Monty, and he won quite a few other things, and then he was the first to bring Toyota cars here as well. You know, when he was in Australia at the London to Sydney, he had seen these wee Toyotas running about, Japanese cars, and he was the man that actually helped bring them to Northern Ireland, to Ireland probably, you know. Right. So he was no mug as well, you know, and he's been an great ambassador for Ulster for a long, long time.
Yeah. You always
Ronnie Adams before that was a very good rally driver, and he won the Monte Carlo. Then Paddy. I would like to see Chris Meek win it, because he was another Ulsterman to win the Monte Carlo. Yeah. But unfortunately, Lady Luck didn't shine on him there, you know. He was always leading it or something, and then something happens, you know. But it was nice to have another Ulsterman up there, you know, winning the Monte Carlo.
Be nice to see him maybe getting another bite at the cherry, because there's no doubt about it, when he's driving, there's nobody has commitment like him.
Oh no, he's brilliant driving. Just Lady Luck doesn't seem to be with him at times, you know, and that's about it, you know. But Paddy Hopkirk would probably have been my hero, and would still be fairly well up there. I love, you know, like the old Harry Vatman. In fact, the first time I saw Harry Vatman was in Donegal,
right?
Rally 19. I think we were driving a Fiat 127 that year, because two Fiat supplied, 127 one year and a 124 ST the next year, and we were doing, and we come around this corner here, the road was blocked with this blue Ascona, and this big young blonde Swede, do you know Max? And they were stuck. They'd gone off the road, and the front bumper had hooked on the bottom bar of the gate. So they were trying to get her lifted off to get back out again. So there was a whole crowd on her. We had to stop anyway, so we had to lift them off. But we didn't realise that was Harry Batman, and he was going to go on and do all the things he has done over the years. You know?
So really, that's another man whose career got started because of you. Because if you hadn't lifted him off the gate, where would he have gone?
Well, I think he would have overcome that wee problem.
Well, you never know.
You never know. You never know.
You just never know. Well, now this is one I'm actually looking forward to, because, as you've alluded to over the period of the interview here, Tom, you've driven many a motor between clans, fates, escorts, an ex-police car, minis. If you could, Tom, if you could drive any car anywhere, what would be your dream car to drive, and where would you want to drive it?
Well, I've always fancied to go with that, and I'll never be able to do it. But the Bathurst 500 in Australia, I've seen that, and I would love to drive the Tom Walkinshaw Win Percy Jaguar XJC round that. You know, you've all those lovely corners, big sweepers up around the mountain, Mount Panorama, and then you have Conrod Street. Like, to name a straight, Conrod Street, I think that's fantastic. I think we should rename the street at Kirkeston Conrod, Conrod Street. And don't ask Jonathan McDonald, because he broke a Conrod down there when he was petitioning with me with his wee Clio, you know. Mm-hmm.
That's true. But I think it ended up going on fire that day in the paddock, didn't it?
I think it was because she threw a leg out of it, as a man says, you know.
We see.
But Conrod, I think, was fantastic, and it's a fantastic course, you know. I had a Jaguar, one of the big Australian V8s, you know. But I think that would be good.
There's a wee joke to be had there about you in a car with no pistons as its number wanting to race down Conrod Street. Somebody somewhere is going to be able to get something funny out of that.
That would be a bit contradictory, wouldn't it? But that will always appeal to me, but like, it will never happen, you know. But you've got to have thoughts somewhere, you know.
Never say never. Yeah. We can see you lining up around the big rover yet.
You never know. Think V8 would go all right there.
If you're able to drive a Mazda to Cyprus, it's not that much further on to Australia.
Oh, no. You have contacts there, haven't you?
I have a brother-in-law there.
That's not that.
Oh dear. Well, the next one now, and another interesting one to hear, is who would you most like to have a run in a car with as a passenger?
Well, the last time I passengered a rally car, we ended up totaling a wee X-Works Super S, and I ended up with an arm here, which was damaged at the time. I was very lucky I didn't lose the hand, you know. But at Galway, County Galway, down the Galway International, way back in, I think it was 71 or 72. But I haven't really navigated for anybody since. But if I was going for a run with somebody, it would have to be Walter Roar. And it would have to be the Audi Quattro Sport. And it would be, I'd love to run over the stage in Northampton, Ora Lodge and Glen Dunn joined together. The two stages there. I always loved those when I was doing them. And I think it would be fantastic to have the Audi run over, you know, with Walter Roar. But there you are. That's what I would like. He was some driver and still is.
That would be a run. Walter Roll in a Quattro out over Glendon. That would be a run and a half.
Glendon and Ora Lodge. Through the viaduct, there's a big viaduct there, and one time you're coming up through it, and then it depends what way to use it. But to join the two together and make one big long stage out of it. I think they did that a few years back for the circuit when it was here, remember?
Yeah.
All the boys. And you can make a really good stage there, you know. But that would be good because there's a bit of tight stuff. there's a good big wide bends as well, so you would get a go at see how it handles them all. But there you are.
Were you ever lucky enough to get a run on a quattro or anything, were you?
I had a run on a quattro with, who was it? Not a really quick one, but a good going one. Forgetting who it was. Oh, your man Galloway, I think.
Lawther. It was an ex-work star too, wasn't it?
I don't think it was that one now that I was in, but it goes well. The only thing, Fridays are very quick, and they're very safe car to sit in. That's why I wouldn't mind sitting with Walter, So we'll see what happens.
Maybe Walter watching this, and he'd be wanting to run with you.
Yeah. I didn't get up to see him when he was over for the retro thing there a few years back, or the deja vu thing that they do,
Yeah.
But I think it's going well.
Well, that's good. Well, we're coming towards the end of this, unfortunately, but the end of the scheduled questions anyway. But what I was going to ask you was, this is a big one now, and it carries a lot of weight. Who would you like to see interviewed?
Well, I've always had I think actually probably Jerry McGarley would be a good man to talk to,
Yeah.
Jerry has been around a wee while like myself, and we've met each other a few times, sometimes down the stage even. I met him coming towards me one time the wrong way, so there you are. But, luckily we didn't collide. Then another time we ran a wee 1300 Escort in 1980 circuit, or Ulster, and he was in the class with his wee Honda Civic, and Don Shannon was there with an Escort. And after the first lot of stages, Don Shannon was leading, and Jerry was next, and I was just within a whisker of him. And at the super stop, I think it was, Jerry was saying, "Why's this fella going so hard?" Jerry. And he was getting into the car to go out again in the next lot of stages, and he says, "Tom, I'll be over the wheel, boy, tonight." And he gets into the car and he notches the seat forward a couple of notches, and he was over the wheel. I would say that wee Honda got some raking that night, like. But at the end of the day, it was Don Shannon was still won, so good on old Don.
That's Don, the fella that used to rallycross with the Volvo in the end.
From Coleraine direction, that's right. Good friend of Davy Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
So, Jerry would be to talk to, I think.
Right. Well, I have Jerry's written down here. I have a few names on the list, but I'll come back to that in a minute. I actually didn't realise you'd done as much rallying and stuff as well as the sprints in the hills. I'll be honest with you.
Well, in the 70s we did everything. We did sort of, and Davy did too. We did the rallies. We did the international rallies, and then we did all the autocross. The autocrosses was good. It was really good round the field,
Yeah.
It wasn't too involved. But all the boys were out there, like the McBurneys and the McCartneys, and Ronnie White was the man. Ronnie White and I had some great matches. In fact, I won a championship for a nut and bolt company from Liverpool, sponsored it one year for the BBN club.
Right.
And I went to the sand races in Blackpool. That's where they were based, you see. So we took the mini over, and I was qualified, I think, 5th or something overall in the sand, and we were sitting. I tell you who was there. Cal Willers, who used to own Willers of Winsford, a real Ford dealer over there, and all the escort men would know them from way back. But I was sitting beside Carl Willers. He was a big Porsche 911, and the 6 big trumpets sticking in the back of her, and the noise of her was incredible. But I beat him off the line, believe it or not. And we finished, we won our class, and then came back over again. And but that was good crack now, it was. We many went well.
Sand racing? Actually on the beach?
On the beach, yes, on the beach. Yes, absolutely. Oh, aye. Big long course. Oh, aye. Big straight down, and then it brought you inland, round a lot of pylons and back out again. I done about 6 laps of it, like. Well, it was good, wasn't it?
That's bound to be an experience. How does a car handle on sand? Is it like gravel? Is it loose and floaty like gravel? Or does she dig in? Or what does she do?
It all the time, really. It's you could spin easily enough, but certainly any with the SP44s in the front was great, the grip was fantastic.
Aye.
And the limited slip, of course. But,
I just can't
that's
imagine sand.
Talking about limited slip diffs, Ernest McMillan hired that RX2 off me for Donegal, you see.
Yeah.
And he comes back in the service after the first run, you see. He says, "What's that thing at the back?" He says, "It's great coming out of hairpins." No, he says, "It's great, no wheel spin." So that's a limited slip diff. He had never driven one with a limited slip diff in it before. He'd always been in Cortinas and things. And so
Yeah.
he thought, that thing at the back he kept talking about, Yeah. But there you go.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So all in, you've done a lot of different disciplines then between rallying. You touched on auto tests, autocross, sprints, and hills. Did you do any racing?
Yeah.
That's probably the only thing left.
I raced once at Carcassonne because Andrew Kane and them Jim McClemens was raced at the time,
Yeah.
and they had to have so much class to get points, you see, and there wasn't enough of the 1,300 cars to get for Jim McClemens, or I think it was Jim McClemens, to get points for the championship.
Right.
So Kane's asked me when I would come out in the rally mini. So I went down there and done a practice and got qualified anyway, and had a good run. Yes, had indeed, very good run. And then I went out on the final race too, and I had a good run there as well. So yeah, the car went well. One thing I did learn: late braking. For the first run, the first timed run, heat, I suppose. I went down into Colonial 1. I thought I was braking quite late, but here these 2 or 3 come up playing inside of me. So the next time, I was braking as well as the rest of them, So there you are. It was one thing I learnt about the late braking.
You'll be revisiting some of that late braking when we start again to catch those escort men, will you?
Oh yes, you have to, boy. It's a BMW men are hard to catch.
Aye, the BMs seem to be the thing to beat. And like they're like your car. They're a big, heavy car. They're not an easy thing to drive.
They have tremendous power. You're 3,500 horsepower, I suppose, maybe more. So they are.
And that's just the Rover. What have the BMs got?
No, the Rover's not nearly that at all. No, I wish it had. No, it goes all right, the Rover. Like, no, it's not.
Oh, aye. But it's reliable, and you're having great fun in it, and that's what it's all about.
I drive it like an work to escort. It's a great turn in the car. The car turns in great, and you have the tail end there right if you want it. But it's very maneuverable. People think it's a big handful, but I can handle it all right. I like it. I do.
You mentioned that actually, and it brings back into my head that I'm sure anybody's watching saw me laughing. Way back years ago, I marshalled Croft Hill Climb. It was the ridiculously hot year. Remember, there was one year it was ridiculously hot, and I just have this memory of you. I was at the top of the hill. It'd be the last penultimate right hander, where there used to be the wall, and you continued on past it, and then we flick left and right over the finish, and where the top of the pad would be. And I'll never forget it, standing there waiting, and we could hear you coming, and you come round an absolutely broadside. We saw the whole side of it, and you never left it on away like a rocket, and everybody standing, clapping and cheering, and I'm thinking, the size of that thing, and he's throwing it about like it's a toy.
I enjoy the car now. People like to see it going too, and they like to hear it going,
Yeah.
I do all my own work and all too, like build the engines and all, and I get satisfaction out of them going well and coming home, and if I think I've driven it okay, I'm happy, I enjoy my wine on a Saturday night,
I'm sure you do. I've been asked here, Joanna's just dropped me a note in. Neil Fraser says, what about the Ballygowan... I can't read writing here. What about the Ballygowan Quarry and Quarry sprints?
Oh, yes, I'd forgotten about those, actually, yeah. They were superb. Oh, we used to do Ballygowan and Creedmoor and Randallstown and Clinty Quarry up the country. And I've even Tyres to Newton Stewart, to, I think, Moffat's Quarry up there, and did a rally sprint and come back home again, you know. We used to drive everywhere. Yeah, absolutely. But Ballygowan Quarry was something else. I loved it. And Janet Francis used to go very well there. There you are. She was good round Ballygowan Quarry. Aye, it was good. And then, but we used to drive everywhere, you know. Remember, as the boys were saying the other night there, we used to do the 12th per sprint at Kirkuson. Yeah. And then we used to drive to Rock the next day. You know, incredible. In fact, we got Davy really into the sport very much. Whenever he went down with us to Eagles Rock one year, he brought his wee car down. Uh-huh. And afterwards won something and went back to the hotel for the prize game. And Davy was with us and had something to eat. And I think he found that the lemonade down there was a wee bit stronger than what he was used to in Donaghitty, you know. But he enjoyed it. So there you are.
He must have done when he kept coming back.
Well, maybe elaborate that sometime when you're talking to him, you know. I so, but no, it was some great back in those days, you know, there's no doubt. Mm-hmm. I remember driving the Minnie to Sion Finn Hill Climb when it was on as well, and doing it and coming back home again. It was a good hill. It was a really good hill. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, John Donnelly was talking about Sion Finn, our second interview, yeah. So he was talking about, I think, did he tell us he time kept there up until the last event, I think?
He probably did, yeah. I only did it a couple of times and then it was over. I didn't use it anymore, you know. Yeah. But I remember Tommy there from Bangor, you know, the car dealer. Remember he rolled a single seater on it one day. Enough he wasn't hurt, you know, but he was there at that time. Then another year was there. It was quite wet. There was a corner called the Dry Arch, but it definitely wasn't dry the day I was there.
But there's a lot of old hills and stuff that don't run anymore either. Like I can think straight off of Benbrata.
Benbrata was great. I liked that. Yes, it suited the rover well because there's power up the hill.
Yeah.
The rover would ride the bumps well. You know, there's a bit of suspension travel, and it rides the bumps very well. I can ride the curbs in Old Kirkuson very well, you know, so it doesn't seem to upset it. You know, you can just run over them. You know. But Benbrata was very nice for single seaters and things. So it was a good hill.
Did you ever try a single seater yourself?
The only single seater I ever drove was a Formula Ford.
Right.
Because I built a couple of Formula Ford engines one time, and one was for Natty Ferguson. One of the Fergusons for Ford Fergusons, you know. Uh-huh. And I had to Kirkuson to set it up and do the carburation. And I drove it a lot that time, trying to get it sorted. But lovely to drive. But he didn't have a full face helmet or anything, and he only had an pair of motorway goggles, you know. And really, what surprised me was the wind, you know, the pressure of the wind past you and the noise of the wind, you know. Yeah. That was the thing that really surprised me, believe it or not, you know. And I'd ridden motorbikes and everything, but just the car seemed to go right into your face, you know. Mm. But it was good fun, it was. But I never actually did one competitively.
It wouldn't put you in the notion to try them?
I don't think I will now, no. I don't think I'll try a single seater. I'll stay with a tin top, you know.
It's better on a wet day, isn't it? At least you can get in out of the rain.
Comfort now, you know.
Well, Tom, I think what we'll do is we're on here now. It's nearly an hour, so I'm sure everybody will agree with me and say this has been brilliant. It's been really good crack. I've really enjoyed myself. I must admit, I've been looking forward to talking to you, and I know from talking to different people.
I was a bit apprehensive, but I wouldn't be a great talker, but it seemed to go all right there.
Yes. No, it's been really enjoyable. I've really enjoyed myself, and I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this one. So
you can tell David Gibson didn't even touch the wine which is surprising.
Tell him yourself, he's probably watching, and I bet you he can't say that either tonight. But no.
Hope you've enjoyed that, David. There's a wee woman beside you there. Tell her I was asking for her.
Tom, on behalf of everybody here, I just want to thank you so much for agreeing to do this. It's been great fun, really, really enjoyable. I've really enjoyed talking and listening to your reminiscence. It's been great crack, and as I say, I've been looking forward to it. Moving forward, I'm not going to do one this Sunday night, and I haven't one set up for next week. The reason being, I am experimenting. Another local competitor, local to Tom as well, has been a real great help with me this week, and we're looking at alternative ways to do this. There are pros and cons. We've been looking at Zoom. Zoom works very well. I've had a lot of help this last couple of days with it, but it makes it more complicated for people having to download apps and link in and stuff, so we're researching and working at it. So I'm going to take a wee break until I get something better confirmed. I'll look to do something next week, later next week, to give me time to experiment and play with Zoom. But if it's not going to work and be practical, we'll stay doing what we're doing. What we're doing is not perfect. I know that, and I appreciate that. But you have to remember, I'm not a professional broadcaster. I'm a twit with an iPad and an iPhone and a cup of tea that just sits here to chat and talk to folk. So everybody has to bear that in mind. But we are taking... there's been some criticism. We are taking it on board. We are looking at it. But I don't want to just suddenly jump in too quickly using a platform that's untested and it turn out to be worse. What we have works. It's not perfect, but it does. So the long and the short of it is there'll be nothing Sunday night. I'm looking towards the end of next week to try and get something hopefully a wee bit better. So watch this space.
Before we go, I'd just like to thank all the marshals and all, and especially the clerks of courses, which really must work hard, and they must be very worried until the event's over with no incidents and nothing happening. But they're all doing a good job, and you're doing a good job. As Kenny said, it's great to have the report after the event, and you don't seem to miss anybody. And you are doing a good job, and I think maybe you could be a good interviewer. You know, we could maybe get you on TV. You know, really. Back in the day job, the money might be better, you know.
Well, thank you very much. But what I do is really a big team effort. I wasn't quick enough with Kenny, but it's a big team effort what goes on here. There's a team of 5 or 6 drivers that have a wee group together. And I have Stephen Galt. I don't know if Stephen's watching or not. He's the driver's rep. And he really is my right hand man, and Stephen helps me. He gets weird messages and weird emails and weird WhatsApps at a certain time. What about such and such? And there's a sprint group as well that get all these weird messages. So it's not just me does it all, it's a team effort. And Joanne as well helps me a lot with the work in the background too, reports and reading through things to make sure I'm not too controversial and suggesting things and stuff. So it's a team effort more than just myself, you know.
No, Stephen and Alan are 2 good friends down there in Ballymoney. I have known Alan for a long time, you know, Alan Roddy, and I've known everybody for a long time. So there you are. Yeah. But the girls were good. Now the girls were good. They were last week on Sunday night. They were in good form. I think they must have been running on super unleaded, all right. But they were taking over well.
I know they were enjoying themselves. It was really good fun, actually. It was good crack. It was a real bit of banter.
Yeah. But that's what it's all about. Bit of banter.
It is. That's the motorsport behind it.
You can't get a better crowd than motorsport crowds. You can't.
No.
Especially the hills and that.
Definitely not.
Absolutely. So there you are.
Sometimes it's as well we're all thick-skinned though, isn't it too?
But we're all very competitive against each other, you know.
Makes a big difference.
So I tell everybody, once I put the helmet on and fire up the V8, I think I'm 19 again, you know.
Oh dear. Well, Tom, listen, I'm going to end it there. Thank you so very much once again for giving up your evening. It's been a pleasure. It's been great crack. I really enjoyed it. we'll sit and watch back through it. I'm sure. See, we can't see the comments. I'm sure there's some great comments and stuff up there. So I'm looking forward to re-watching it myself. So, excuse me. Tom, thank you on behalf of us all. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay,
All right,
okay.
Tom, just bear with me here a wee second to turn this off and remember how to do it now. Finish.